Bitcoin goes on sale, and the US government posts a $348 billion deficit in May. Global debt grew by $315 trillion in Q1 of this year, bringing global debt to GDP to 333%. Plus, regional banks are on the brink of collapse. Mastercard wants your biometric data, and Elizabeth Warren urges Jerome Powell to cut interest rates. All reasons why I'm buying Bitcoin right now. Welcome to Bitcoin Daily. I'm Dante Cook, head of Swan Business. In my family, friend group, and general group of community here in Indy, I'm known as the Bitcoin guy. But we also know that means I get texts or calls about anything that's crypto related generally. Every time Bitcoin's price dips, I get a text or a screenshot like, "You doing okay, bro? How are things going on over there?" Meanwhile, Bitcoin's price is up 159% in the last year, and the entire stock market is being decimated today. Unless you're Apple and you announce that an AI overlord will be watching all of your texts, your screens, and be with you constantly in your pocket 24 hours a day and by your head when you sleep. I always like to take this moment to educate people on why I buy Bitcoin, why I believe Bitcoin is sound money, and the differences between unsound money and Bitcoin and how to spot it. So in light of what I might actually send some friends or other people on a day like today, I wanted to give you 10 reasons why I'm buying Bitcoin right now. Did you see that US government spending as a percent of GDP hit 44%, even though we're not in a crisis, which is the same amount that it hit during World War II and the Great Financial Crisis, only to be surpassed by COVID when it grew to 54%. When I see that, I'm buying Bitcoin. Or that the US government had a deficit of $348 billion, not this year, but in May. The CBO, or the Congressional Budget Office, said that that's $108 billion more than May of last year. When I hear those kinds of numbers, I buy Bitcoin. Forget the US. Did you see that global debt grew by $315 trillion in the first quarter of this year alone, which brings the total global debt to GDP to 333%? I'm buying Bitcoin. When I see that Mastercard is eliminating the manual entry of card data and information for online payments by 2030 for Europeans, and only come to find out that they only require you to use your biometric data with randomly generated tokens that you don't control in order to make payments, I'll pass. I'm buying Bitcoin. When I see Moody's downgrade regional banks with market caps between 10 billion and 100 billion, citing high risk due to material exposure to bad commercial real estate loans, and PIMCO also citing the same thing, I buy Bitcoin. When I see Elizabeth Warren or other political figures writing letters to Jerome Powell citing the need to urgently cut interest rates given that the economy is slow and it's not actually helping inflation, I figure that the money printer is going to turn on soon. And it always does right before an election, regardless of whoever is elected. And so I buy Bitcoin. After I send them all of those things, they inevitably say, "Dante, I get it. You work for Swan, a Bitcoin only company, and you're a Bitcoin guy. But I have heard that Ethereum is also a commodity, decentralized sound money, and they're about to have an ETF approved soon." Inevitably, I would probably send them posts about why I think Ethereum is not sound money. Starting with this post from Anders Olausen, who's from the Ethereum Foundation, citing his reasons why he thinks Ethereum should have another issuance reduction or another change in its monetary policy. In a main Ethereum community and forum, this post only got 22 comments. And in another research forum where it was also posted, it only got 8 likes. So let me ask you this question. If you were going to bet your future and your economic future on this, would you bet on a small group of people who have changed the monetary policy of this quote unquote decentralized network multiple times and continue to do so every 6 months? I would probably send them this clip from Michael Saylor talking about Ethereum in this very issue, and I'd probably buy more Bitcoin.
Now, if you want an ethical monetary network, like, do you want to trust all your money in a bank run by 3 people that you know? Or do you want to trust all your money in a bank that's collectively owned by humanity where nobody in the human race can possibly hack the bank. And it's one of them is a protocol beyond the reach of any individual, any corporation, any government. Bitcoin is a system so diffuse that no one entity or person is systemically important or influential, right? Whereas Ethereum or any of these other proof of stake protocols, if there's a company, if there's a founder, if there's an engineering team, if you can identify them, then they can change it. And the ability to change the network undermines the integrity and the security and the immutability of the network. And the one thing you want with a monetary network is you want to know that 100 years from now, 500 years from now, 1,000 years from now, the network's going to maintain its integrity. And if it relies upon any individual action, you've already failed. That's why, for example, you speak English and you don't speak the language made up by your best friend that's a little bit more efficient, that's got special words in it. You're buying into a shared protocol of all of the smart money in the human race. And the smart idea, if you study history, is don't trust anybody. Don't trust yourself, right? Like you could say, Michael, would you rather invest in a network where you control it? I'm like, no, right? I'm the weak link, right? We're all the weak link at the end of the day. So you want to put your energy and your support behind a network which transcends any institution. That's what secures you. That's what makes it, safe and economically sound.
I would then probably send them this article from Bill Miller writing about why he's still betting on Bitcoin, where he talks about at just $1.5 trillion market cap, there's only a small percentage of the world's total available capital that is investing in Bitcoin, which has the most accountable and secure blockchain and ledger that's way better than the best fiat monetary systems today. I would probably send them this picture from Samson Mount from Jan 3, showing the available capital that's out there in the world. And this right side up triangle showing the amount of available Bitcoin that can be purchased left to be issued. I'm buying Bitcoin. And then I'll probably send them something that has less to do with economic theory or monetary theory or global debt, and send them something like an invite to our June 13th, Thursday, Father's Day celebration, where we are going to be talking about Bitcoin parenting and how Bitcoin has made us better parents with me and our wonderful co-host, Kristen Thompson. This will be at 3 p.m. Eastern or 12 noon Pacific, and you'll be able to hear from me as well as other cool Bitcoiners like Lisa Howe or Walker or Alexandra from Swan or Pierre and Morgan Richard talk about how Bitcoin has changed their philosophies on parenting and how it's improved them as parents. Who doesn't want to be a better parent? Who doesn't want to be a better father? There's a link with a reminder in the show notes as we'll be airing this live stream on YouTube. You're not going to want to miss it. And with that, we're signing off for today. This is Dante Cook with Swan.com. Happy stacking.